The industry of pharmaceuticals is one that is full of monopolies. Let me first start off by telling what a monopoly is. A monopoly is defined as the exclusive possession or control of the supply of it or trade in a commodity or service. Now, was the pharmaceutical industry always a monopoly? The answer to this question is no. Pharmaceutical companies rely heavily on patents to protect their intellectual property, granting them exclusive rights to manufacture and sell a drug for a period, which can lead to high prices and limited competition. In the early to mid 1900s, patents were given very limitedly, and the length of these patents were short. Companies that did have patents even had to sometimes license their patents. This changed in the 1980s when the US moved away from these policies and stopped promoting fair competition. Also, changes in patents made it easier to patent minor variations of drugs. With the barriers of entry being extremely high in price and patents being an obstacle not many companies have been able to start. This causes less competition, causing companies to increase prices. For example, insulin increasing 600% in the last 20 years. Even though there has been an increase in monopolies over the years, the total amount of money being spent on research and development has increased, but the ROI has decreased. A reason for this could be that monopolies may be discouraged and have less of a reason to innovate in the pharmaceutical industry, as there may be limited competition. Also, many of the smaller innovators may just end up being bought up by the bigger companies, causing less innovation. On the other hand, some argue that monopolies allow for greater profit, which is the only way they can afford more research and development and recoup the investments. Another argument is that they can make more risk due to the profit they make, which can lead to more innovation. What does the pharmaceutical market look like outside of the USA? Well, in the USA, prices are much higher than in Europe. A few reasons are that Europe has more of a price control on the products. As in Europe, the government negotiates price and applies economic restraints on the companies. This leads to a decrease in price in the pharmaceuticals industry. These regulations help keep the prices more affordable in Europe. How would a monopoly cause an increase in price? If you compare graphs, monopoly is on the left and perfect competition is on the right. The left graph has a price set at point B for maximum profit because point B is on the demand curve at the best quantity, as the quantity of the good that is willing to be sold is when MR equals MC, which is shown in both graphs. The difference is the demand for the good for monopoly is much higher, as pharmaceuticals are an inelastic good, which means they can raise the price without losing many customers, and there is no competition. So the demand curve is higher and downward sloping, compared to a flat line for perfect competition, as an increase in price will cause people to buy the alternative good from other competition. So what companies have dominated the industry? The pharmaceutical industry has been dominated by a few companies, as seen in the chart headlined by Pfizer, in which all these companies have made lots of profit due to many factors, but one of the biggest being the lack of competition. How can pharmaceutical monopolies be limited so there are potentially lower prices? Possible solutions are to have patent reforms, which would limit duration of patents, price ceilings, faster approval process, and Medicare negotiation.